The collapse of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany solved a number of economic, social, and historic problems, but others have grown worse. Among them, the increasing visibility and viciousness of the neo-Nazi movement. The Journal's Anne McMillan prepared this report.
This looks like images from the past, part of some bad dream. But this is today in Germany. Chilling, chanting hatred from mobs of young toughs wearing illegal Nazi insignia. They call themselves skinheads, and they're the shock troops of the ever-growing neo-Nazi movement in the country that prides itself on a 40-year effort to erase its fascist past. Under the banner of German nationalism, they not only chant and march openly through the streets, they use the same terror tactics and violence as their forefathers. This is the target of neo-Nazi hatred. Refugees flooding Germany. Refugees from Africa and the Middle East, from India, Pakistan, and the Far East, from Yugoslavia, Romania, and what used to be the Soviet Union, all taking advantage of the most open border in Europe. The German Constitution states anyone crossing the border and requesting political asylum must be taken in and supported while given a time-consuming immigration hearing on their application. So they pour across, 500,000 last year, and still coming, at a cost of over 7 billion Deutschmarks to the taxpayers. When they get here, this is what greets them. Germany for Germans, foreigners out, old slogans for neo-Nazis.
In the past, we always thought the neo-Nazis, these are the old guys, a lost group with a few crazy young people. But now, the neo-Nazis, or the young neo-Nazis in East and West, they're quite smart, intelligent young guys. And they have decided that they should stress on the foreigners problem, of course, because they know that they can attract a lot of people.
The impact of the huge foreign influx into Germany has been increased by the images of skinhead marches and rallies on German television. But the brains behind the movement are the 3,000 neo-Nazis, politically astute members of the extreme right, who use the skinheads as a sort of paramilitary force.
Die Skinheads gestanden, in das Wohnheim eingedrungen zu sein.
Almost every night, the news brings reports of the latest violence against foreigners. Firebombing camps and hostels like this one in Immenstadt is a favorite tactic. Ibo Ibong from Nigeria was so frightened when skinheads attacked his hostel, he jumped from a third-story window to escape, fracturing his skull and breaking his leg. In the past year, 2,000 incidents like this resulted in 2 deaths and countless injuries. Friday night in Cottbus, 100 kilometers southeast of Berlin. A group of skinheads are on their way to an illegal drinking club. Ranging in age from 16 to 25, they are members of the Deutsche Alternative political party. Under the old East German regime, it was against the law to gather like this. Now only the club is illegal. Many of the drinkers are underage, but it still operates openly. Bragging about the marches they've been on and the fights they've been in, the group includes Karsten, a mine worker, René, an unemployed mechanic, Torsken, a construction worker, and the youngest, Sten, still a student. They're proud of their neo-Nazi roots and hate foreigners with a passion from the past.
Ich bin gegen Ausländer, Typ gegen Ausländer nur.
I'm against foreigners. I'm against these pretend asylum seekers who come here to stuff their bellies and to have a big slice of the cake.
My pride speaks to me as a German. When I hear some things, I can't stand it. When the foreigners and their supporters say they are uneasy in this country and they have something against us so-called Nazis, I don't understand. They are completely against our country, against this society, and against us. They should leave Germany. I don't care, we should drive them out.
In the middle of what used to be the East German coal mining area, the citizens of Cottbus are still adjusting to reunification. The new free enterprise system has created new problems of inflation, unemployment, and housing shortages. Before the wall came down, people here had little contact with outsiders. Anyone different is regarded with suspicion. Around town, posters openly advertise neo-Nazi political parties. And the streets reflect a community divided. One wall covered with swastikas and graffiti, while on the other side of the street, a billboard saying, "All Germans are foreigners," urging acceptance and understanding. On the edge of town, a former Soviet army barracks has been fixed up as a dormitory for refugees, part of the government program to spread the asylum seekers throughout the country. The fence is a recent addition, not to keep refugees in, but to protect them from roving groups of skinheads. Sadiko Saban and his family fled to Germany from the war in Yugoslavia. This is their third dormitory in 3 months, as they wait for their asylum hearing. Each move due to threats of violence by neo-Nazis. Saban thought he'd find peace in Germany, a better life for his family. What he found was a different kind of war.
Yes, I have been afraid. In the other camp, I was afraid.
I
was afraid of the mafia Nazis who shouted foreigners out every night.
The leader of the Cottbus neo-Nazis is a furniture salesman, 25-year-old Frank Hubner. He would only agree to talk with us in a deserted park outside town.
Jeder dahergelaufene Schwarze oder Zitronenneger aus Asien.
Every vagabond black or lemon Negro Asian gets a roof over their head in Germany, gets financial support, gets huge material support, and we don't agree with that.
Den Deutschen so geholfen wird oder den unterbemittelten Deutschen.
We believe that Germans come first. Underprivileged Germans should be given a better life, and not that billions of marks should be spent on people who have nothing in common with Germany.
Keine Beziehung haben zu Deutschland.
Police patrol the streets of Cottbus, waiting for the next outbreak of violence against the refugees. They know that when it comes, there will be little they can do. Superintendent Wolfgang Rappe complains they are undermanned and under-equipped.
Bloß ich als Polizist muss auch davon ausgehen,
what I have to contemplate as a police officer is if I'm alone against 30 others, do I risk my life or do I let them go?
Und wir sind zurzeit im Dienst.
We only have 8 policemen, including myself, on duty at any one time for a city of 100,000.
Eingeschlossen 8 Polizisten. Ja. Und wenn dann eine rechtsradikale Gruppierung auftritt, die 40, 50 und
if a group of neo-Nazis of 40 or 50 or more appears, then we have a problem.
Dann können wir lediglich beobachten.
All we can do is watch, wait and try to prevent anything from happening. But to take action to the letter of the law is absolutely impossible.
A graphic example of police ineffectiveness occurred last September, a short drive from Cottbus in the town of Hoyerswerda. Refugees were moved into this town building after trouble at their previous location. The same day they moved in, 200 skinheads, led by neo-Nazis from Cottbus, attacked the hostel, shouting Nazi slogans and throwing stones. Local residents stood and watched. Some reports even had them applauding the attack. That night, the refugees were bussed out of town. Neo-Nazis now boast that Hoyerswerda is the first foreigner-free town in Germany.
Wir wollen unsere Politik mit friedlichen, gewaltfreien Mitteln durchsetzen.
We want to put through our policies with peaceful, non-violent means. But the normal citizen, up to his neck in water, sees things a little differently. That he would overreact and possibly shout a Sieg Heil or spray a swastika somewhere or beat up a Negro or Asian, that's just normal reaction to all the years when he himself was mistreated here. Then we put ourselves behind this citizen and not behind some pseudo-asylum seeker who has been cheating Germany for years.
Why do we feel like this? When others are violent, then there's always counter-violence. You can't back away. If you back away, you are seen as a coward. And the foreigners would think they've won, that we've pissed off and gone into hiding. We have our pride and our principles, and we want to keep them.
In a Cottbus church hall, citizens are beginning to express concern over the spread of such hatred and violence. They come from the church, from the police, the young and the old. These citizens know Cottbus, a center for neo-Nazi supporters, could explode in a major incident at any time. Tonight's meeting ends with an impassioned plea from the police chief, who warns the situation is getting worse and he needs more cooperation from an apathetic public. This feeling of concern isn't limited to Cottbus. As incidents of violence continue almost daily across Germany, the silent majority is beginning to react. Last October, 50,000 marched through the Brandenburg Gates in Berlin in a show of solidarity with the refugees and opposition to the neo-Nazis. It was prompted by the shame of neo-Nazi violence and by anger at their government's inaction. On the same day, a counter-demonstration by the neo-Nazis. Flaunting the authorities and the liberal marchers, they paraded their swastikas and chanted their hatred. One man who observed both demonstrations was philosopher and professor of journalism at Berlin University, Dr. Andreas Woznitza.
I don't think these people you can see on television are the most dangerous ones. They are ugly, in a way. They are part of a lost generation there. But the more dangerous side are those people who sympathize with them, who say, well, we don't want to look like them, but we agree with them. We agree with the ideals, we agree with the aims, we want the foreigners out and this sort of thing. And these percentages, these are normal people. It's always the normal people who are the more dangerous ones.
To spread their message to the so-called normal people, the neo-Nazis bring in nationalists from other countries, like British historian David Irving.
Genauso wie heute kein Journalist, kein ernstzunehmender Journalist feierlich erklären würde, dass die Juden, die Nazis aus den Judenleichen Seifentabletten hergestellt haben. Diese Legende ist inzwischen amtlich von den Israelis dementiert worden, also dürfen die Journalisten nicht mehr daran glauben.
Irving's brand of revisionist history has made him a hero of the neo-Nazis and skinheads.
I think you're privileged to see here the emergence of a germ cell
just like there are many germ cells right the way across Germany, particularly here in the center of Germany, where nationalism is at its strongest. You're seeing a germ cell of nationalism emerging, of young nationalists, and they're not going to go away. They're going to be here for the next 20 or 30 years.
Well, it seems to me quite clear that he's simply prostituting his profession and his intellect.
German historian Mary Fulbrook feels that her dangerous rhetoric fills a void, particularly among the youth of the East.
I feel quite sorry for them because they're very confused. They listen to what they hear. They know that they haven't been taught the right things before. They're being told all the time by the West Germans now that what the East Germans taught was wrong, that they should be throwing out their teachers, throwing out their textbooks. They have a serious deficit of actual knowledge because much of what they were taught was indeed very one-sided and downplayed the Holocaust in favour of upplaying communist resistance, for example. They don't know what to believe. And so when something speaks to their condition, as one might say, then they're prepared to swallow it.
They are empty. They have lost their history, they have lost their background, they have lost their education. And they have to build up a new life. And there's nothing we bring them, it's nothing we give them. We, I mean the West Germans, all we do is we come over and create jobs which we take over. And all we show is that we are pushy and that they are the losers, and that's what we tell them. And in a way, the collapse of the GDR proves for them that Hitler might have been right. And this is terrifying.
Die kriminelle Vereinigung hat sich zum Ku Klux Klan Deutschland zusammengeschlossen.
Another terrifying image. These pictures, broadcast by German television last fall, show a meeting in the woods near Cottbus between neo-Nazis and Dennis Mahon, American leader of the Ku Klux Klan.
The German people seem to know that they're losing their future by all these foreigners coming in, and they're going to destroy the German nation. In my opinion, whatever it takes to save your nation, you're going to do.
The Holy Christ brings us victory and signals our forefathers, the great warriors of the Teutonic Knights, the Waffen-SS, all the heroes of a race. We ask your spirits to witness this and to come into the cross and to give us strength and power. Sieg!
This image of the Klan and neo-Nazis, natural allies of hatred and racial purity, shocked German liberals.
I think it's worrying. I think it's terrible. I wouldn't overestimate the effect of that, but still it proves that there, in East Germany especially, there's a need for this sort of thing. They have lost their ideology, and there's a need for a new ideology and rituals where they actually can do something. And especially when people like this come over and combine political ideology with this mixture of violence, I think this is, symbolizes the danger which is there.
Ja, wir sind zwar die Kinder unserer Väter und
We are indeed the children of our fathers and grandfathers who fought in 2 world wars.
Ja, der ferne Betrachter in irgendwelchen anderen
I can understand where an observer in another country may be concerned when he sees this, but we are proud of our fathers. We are proud, in part, of the things that happened back in the Third Reich.
Adolf Hitler ist ein Mann, den man zum Beispiel nicht verteufeln sollte.
Adolf Hitler is a man who should not be demonized because of some documents that say what he may have done.
Oder was angeblich gemacht haben soll.
And so far, little official response from the German government. A few billboards and television ads like this one.
Stopp den Mob.
As Frank Hubner makes his Friday night rounds of the Cottbus discos, he knows the anti-foreigner backlash in Germany is his best recruiting tool. As one young girl told us, neo-Nazis are in right now. They are in vogue. In this setting, they may appear to be teenage rebels, a troublesome minority. But they've been handed a cause, one that many Germans can relate to.
I can see the neo-Nazi movement growing, not with the old-fashioned rituals, of course, perhaps under new code. especially, and that is my nightmare, that the problems with the East, with Poland, with Russia and the other states are growing, that we will have a bigger influx of refugees from the East who want to live in the West, who will come across. And in a situation like this, of course, this is going to be a boiling pot.
So the nightmare goes on. Neo-Nazis and skinheads continue almost daily attacks against anything foreign. The open border policy continues to attract refugees from all over the world, and right-wing discontent continues to grow. Images of the past haunt the Germany of today. For The Journal, I'm Anne McMillan in Germany.